It's now 12:30 to 12.
Modern countries depend for their survival on power. In this country, the major source of power is electricity. The machines that generate electricity are the products of heavy industry. The electricity produced by a power station is taken across country along cables. These cables are connected to electrical substations. From the substations, equipment known as switchgear distributes electricity to the consumer. This switchgear is also the product of heavy industry. This is one of Britain's largest heavy engineering firms. On this site, both the turbine generators and the switchgear, which produce and distribute electricity, are manufactured. The people working on the production and sales of turbine generators and switchgear are looked after by the personnel department.
I wanted to be involved with people, and I thought if I got in a heavy engineering firm where there was plenty of people employed, it would give me a good opportunity to get involved with people.
Personnel department. Can you just hold the line one moment, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Hello?
Heather Hill came into the personnel department straight from school. Then she was an office junior. Now she's senior secretary to the personnel manager.
Mr. Brown's initials? I know we have quite a few working for the company and it's difficult to say which one's which. Yes, have you got his address at all? That's fine. Right, thank you very much. I'll pass that message on for you. Bye-bye. Right, Susan, we want a telephone number for the records department.
2031.
2031?
Yes.
Right, thanks very much.
There are over 6,000 people employed on site. So Heather needs both a secretarial assistant and a record clerk to help her.
Hello, personnel department.
Oh, hello, Anne, it's Heather. I'd like a record card, please, for Mr. Brown. J.W.T. Brown.
Yes.
He lives in Sale, and his address is 126 Lee Road. We believe he works in switchgear, but we're not too sure, and I'd like to confirm it. Thanks very much. Will you bring it in to me?
Straight away. Yes. Bye-bye.
Keeping the records up to date is of vital importance. There's so many people employed, and we must keep the records up to date so that we know where we can contact a person.
Heather, this is the card you wanted.
Right, thank you very much, Anne. Fine. Hello, Mr. Smith? Oh, hello, it's Heather Hill, Central Personnel Department. Hello. I've had a Withenshaw Maternity Hospital on. Yes, true. Mr. Brown, who works for you, I believe he's a turner. Could you advise him that his wife's just had a little girl? This job involves arranging meetings with unions. This can be quite a lengthy business, involving all the managers of each different unit on the site, asking them if they can attend this meeting.
Hello, my name's Abbott. I've got an appointment with Mr. Jones.
Right, so would you like a seat, Fury? Hello, Heather. Reception. Got Mr. Abbott with me.
On this occasion, there will be about 20 management and union representatives attending the meeting. Heather has to see that each one is met and escorted to the right place on time.
Mr. Abbott. Hello. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
I'm Peter Jones' secretary. Would
Right.
like to come through.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Abbott. Hello, Mr. Abbott. When the meeting has taken place, I go in and take the shorthand notes off the personnel manager. I then type them back and give them to my assistant, who duplicates them and circulates them to the people concerned. What I like about working in industry is being involved with people, seeing the different people in their jobs, whether it be on the shop floor or in the offices, and knowing that I've helped them to obtain employment with the company. Scott Hollins. Yes. Hello, pleased to meet you.
Hello.
You've come for an interview in the training department.
Yes.
Right, have you filled all your application form in?
Yes.
Good. You didn't get stuck on any of the questions at
No.
all? No. That's fine. I'm going to take you across to the training department where you'll meet the training officer for switchgear for your interview.
Heather is often the first person new applicants meet when they come for an interview, and she always tries to put them at their ease.
I'm going to leave you in reception now, Scott. Somebody will look after you in here, and when the training officer is ready to come to see you, he'll be popping out to you. So I'll give you your phone back. When the training officer comes to see you, if you hand it in to him, and he knows all about it.
Right.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please take a seat.
Okay.
Scott,
Yes.
I see from your application form you wish to take a technician apprentice.
This company takes on about 30 technician apprentices yearly. They usually join at 16 or 17 and spend their first year in a training centre learning basic mechanical and electrical skills. Then they have 2 to 3 years further experience in different departments. Bob Cumming is 19. He left school with 8 O-levels, including English, chemistry, physics and maths. Now he's in manufacturing technology.
The job of the manufacturing engineer is to look after all the machinery on the site, from the smallest of the lathes up to the multi-million-pound investments, finding out which firms will supply this machinery, obtaining tenders from them, and from those then deciding which is the most suitable company.
Hello, Bob.
Good morning, Vic.
How are you today?
Bob works for Vic Bailey, the senior manufacturing engineer.
Got a brand new project here from Germany. Now we have a new drilling machine.
Yes.
Or drilling turbine wheels.
Yeah, I'm Muldinger.
I'm Muldinger. You've got the pronunciation right here. There is the existing shop floor layout.
Whereabouts are we here?
North crossing in D aisle between stanchions 41 and 43. What I would like to do is get out there, measure up that area, so that we're absolutely sure that the new machine will fit in.
Right.
Okay.
No trouble. Okay.
Thanks. There you go. Don't forget your tape.
This is the area where they plan to replace obsolete machinery with the new drilling machine. Bob has to measure it up very precisely to make sure it will fit. Then he has to produce drawings showing exactly where the machine is to be placed. But that's only the beginning of what will be a long and responsible involvement with the project.
Oh, morning, Vic. I've just heard that we have yet another problem on this Eimeldingen table.
Yeah, the foundations.
Yes. This 55-inch dimension is in fact 60 inches.
Then also our responsibility to have the foundations dug for the machinery involved, which involves another subcontractor, and liaising between them and the machine suppliers to have the foundations built to the specifications required for the machinery that's coming in.
Bob is double-checking the measurements of the foundations. He has to be very thorough because he's working without supervision.
When the foundations are eventually dug and the machinery arrives on site, we supervise all the installation of the machinery, the inspections, and finally the running of that machinery and any teething problems we might have in the initial stages.
Speaking. Yes? Eimeldingen. Uh-huh. Got it. I'll be down right away. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bob, we have trouble with the hydraulic unit on the Eimeldingen table.
They run the test?
I've just heard from them now. We better get down right away.
Okay.
The new machine has been tested, and there seems to be a fault. Vic and Bob go down to the shop floor to find out what it is. This is where the turbine generators are assembled. Turbine generators are used in ships and industry, as well as power stations. The more complex machines here can cost over £1 million. That's a lot of money. Money wasted if the machines are not working.
Oh, here we've got a power failure on the hydraulics.
What does Bob like best about this kind of work?
Well, it's a very interesting position in that there's a lot of responsibility attached to it. You're given a job with a set budget, and it's basically your responsibility from there on out for everything that job entails, to have everything done from the first idea to the final running of that machinery.
This is the drawing office for turbine generators. There are 25 draftsmen who produce all the working drawings for the complete range of turbines that are manufactured on site. All technician apprentices spend some time in the drawing office during their training. This is Colin Pearson. He's just 20. He was accepted as an apprentice because he had O-levels in maths, English, physics, and technical drawing. What does he do now?
I'm a draftsman, and I've just finished a 4-year apprenticeship. On my initial training, the first 12 months off the job training was spent in the training centre, where we did various things from turning to fitting, electrical wiring, milling. This gave us an insight into the workings of the shop floor, which in itself is very important because this gives you an understanding of how the shop floor works and the problems which the people on the shop floor have.
It's important for Colin to understand how the shop floor works because any mistakes in his drawings will be reproduced during the actual manufacturing process.
Colin, the rotor you were drawing, will you get it out, the drawing out? We'll go and check the clearance with the inspector.
Okay.
There are hundreds of working drawings housed in the vaults.
Can I have 677X 10234, please, Tom? Office copy. Thanks.
Colin is still fairly inexperienced, so for some jobs he is supervised by a senior draftsman. They're going down to the shop floor to check some essential measurements on part of a turbine he's been working on. Perhaps the most important part of a turbine is the rotor. This will spin inside it and provide the power. This rotor, built for a new power station in Korea, weighs 11 tons and is made of very high-quality steel. In spite of its weight, it is a precision-built piece of engineering and has to be treated with great care as it's lowered into its outer cylinder. To provide maximum power, the rotor must be able to spin freely, so its blades have to be kept clear of the outer cylinder. The inspector checks the clearances between the blades and the outer casing. If the gap is too narrow, the blades could break and the turbine could be severely damaged. The measurements are so precise, they are recorded in thousandths of an inch.
70,000.
Colin notes down the clearances on the drawing. Copies will be sent to the site so the rotor can be assembled in exactly the same position as it was at the factory.
The job of a draftsman is very interesting because it's different, and every job which you get is different because each job has its own problems, needs to be sorted out its own way. And the atmosphere in the office is very, very good. They're always willing to help. And it's a challenge, basically. I like it because it's a challenge.
Telex pupil.
All right, thank you.
Paul Norcross is also closely involved with the actual manufacturing processes. He works in a department known as quality surveillance. The people in quality surveillance are responsible for ensuring that any components made outside the firm for use in the firm's products are produced to an exact specification. Before he came into this department full-time, Paul, like the other technicians we've seen, spent short periods going round other departments.
I've always been interested in engineering, but when I came into this firm as an apprentice, I wasn't so sure what area I wanted to specialise in until during my basic training, I went into the testing of metals for defects. My job is a junior quality surveillance engineer, which involves going out to outside suppliers and checking for defects. This involves two types of testing, one being magnetic particle, which is the testing of metals by sending electric current from two prods through the metal and being sprayed with ink. If there is a defect on the surface, this shows up as a black mark.
Right, the magnetic test is clear. Thanks a lot. I'll get all the ultrasonics. Okay, thank you.
The other testing is the testing of the metals by ultrasonics, which is sending a high frequency wave into the metal. If it comes into contact with a defect, it is rebounded back through the probe into the ultrasonic set and shows up on the screen as peaking. After carrying out these tests, I go back to the company and write out a report to say whether the casting or forging is acceptable or defective.
Both the turbine generator and the switchgear side of the firm have big commercial departments. These are responsible for sales and seeing the goods get to the customer at the right time and at the right price. This department is part of switchgear, the electrical side of the firm. It handles all the work on a contract after the initial sale has been agreed. Mark Robinson is called a technical correspondent. At school, he was always good at languages and maths, and now he can use them in a practical way.
Switchgear.
A technical correspondent's job is something between a sales rep and a progress chaser. He has to be able to quote prices and delivery dates, authorize payments, see that the goods are delivered to the customer, and help with after-sales servicing on sites where equipment has already been installed. Mark's just been called upstairs to the finance department. One of the sales invoice clerks needs to have a word with him.
Good morning, Alec.
Good morning, Mark. Read that Bewley job, GO 820885.
Yes, I brought the file up.
On stock order 3, we have 2 new replacement front panels and relays. Is it possible for me now to invoice the customer?
Just a minute, I'll check on the list. Which item number is it?
Item 5.
Yes, quite all right. That one's gone. You can invoice that, yeah.
Thanks very much. May I have a copy of the shipping list, please?
Yes, certainly. That's a...
Technical correspondents have to liaise very closely with other departments within the company.
The liaison involves, first of all, issuing the initial orders, making sure the drawing office knows what you want, the engineers who will detail the nuts and bolts of the job know what you want. Then after you've got that, you've got to have it produced on the shop floor. You've got to liaise with the shop floor, make sure it's being made.
This is the assembly shop for switchgear. Every possible kind of component for use in electrical substations is produced here. Mark is responsible for the delivery of some of these components. This often involves him in going down to the assembly shop in person to check if an order is ready for his customer. The production assistant in charge is able to confirm that the job is ready. So Mark will arrange with the traffic department for the goods to be dispatched immediately. Once he has seen to this, Mark takes the chance to have a proper look round the shop floor. He likes to keep up to date with the firm's business and find out what's being made and where it's going to. About a quarter of the products here are made for British customers, but most of the rest go to countries such as the Middle and Far East and Latin America. Mark is not only responsible for liaison between different departments within the company, but once the equipment has been installed, he liaises with the customer. The firm's most important British customer is the Central Electricity Generating Board of England and Wales. The CEGB owns and operates supply systems, power stations and substations. Today, Mark is going to a local substation. The company's field engineer, who was responsible for installing the equipment, has been called here to a routine meeting by the site manager.
The principal aim of a site meeting is for a sort of man-to-man contact with customer to tell them when they're going to get the equipment from the works, and also to tell the erection staff when they're going to get it. And it's easier done at a meeting than, say, over the phone.
The site manager needs some modifications made to part of the older equipment, and the company's field engineer has come to discuss how they can best be carried out. Mark's job is to advise on costs and dates.
The basic problem, Albert, is that we want to increase the speed of the forced closure.
In that case, you'll require an additional pressure switch and modifications to wiring and airline work. There will be an outage.
How long would it take?
About 8 hours to complete the job.
8 hours.
What's the delivery date on pressure switches, Mark?
We could get these pressure switches to site. It'll take 6 to 8 weeks.
Fair enough. Fine.
Okay, that's fine then. Thank you, gentlemen.
In this program, we've been looking at the roles of 5 young people working in a large electrical company. It is their expertise and skills which help the men on the shop floor to produce the equipment which generates electricity and then distributes it to the consumer. Among the heaviest consumers of electricity are the other sectors of industry. It's probably not exaggerating to say that the people in the power game play one of the most crucial roles in Britain's future.
And there we end programmes for schools and colleges for today. It's now coming up to 1 minute to 3. Children's programmes begin on BBC One at 5 to 4 with Play School. But in the meantime, we're returning to a trade test transmission.